So during the past 18 months, I think our team together, we have come to you with various episodes. We have come to you on human resources, we have come to you on financial management, on strategic management, on research, and various types of topics we have discussed in front of you. And I hope these discussions would have brought some insight to you and would have been of any beneficial. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce my team. As usual, with me today is Chatura Dikumra, then Shana Gadiavis, Saman Sudhira, Ladindru Fernando, and I am Bangula Pereira. So we together form the Group 1 of the Oman PIM MBA batch of the year 2017. So welcome to our discussion today. So to start with, since independence of our country from 1948, from time to time there have been various types, various levels of involvement or focus on the general public on especially the affairs of the country, affairs of the government. So the level of involvement have been varying from time to time, especially during public unrest. The focus goes higher, and then after some time it settles down. So this has been ongoing for quite some time, since 1948. But if you look at the past 3 to 4 years, we have seen a significant involvement of the general public of Sri Lanka, where they have actively, they appear to be actively, been interested in the affairs of the country, affairs of the government, and seems to be expressing their concerns over social media, over newspaper, and various other forums. So this is a quite interesting thing, guys. That's what I have seen.
And they have fed up with the regimes so far.
Well, it depends. It can be the fact that they are fed up. It can be the fact that people are more involved in day-to-day activities. So, if you look at some of the concerns that these people have, the general public have expressed over the past few years, they talk about political issues of the country, they talk about the expenditure of the government, they talk about the lack of transparency of transactions of the government, they talk about the lack of governance and controls of the affairs of the government, they talk about bad investment decisions made by the ministers, they talk about corruption heavily, they talk about the lack of government support to especially the new entrepreneurs, they talk about government policy. So there are various kind of things that the general public came to discuss today. So all these are very valid reasons, and at times when you look at the newspapers, when you look at social media, you tend to get a feeling that people are starting to get frustrated over the country, losing their focus on motherland, and basically trying to move away from it. So I think we as learning partners of PIM, we strongly encourage that the general public of Sri Lanka don't lose faith on the country, don't lose faith on the system. We have to work together and then bring this country up. So let's be positive, let's look at the bright side of the whole thing, and then let's try to make this country a better Sri Lanka tomorrow. That's our whole objective, that's our ask from all of you. So, taking you through the discussion for today, we'll be talking in briefly about where Sri Lanka stands today, the economical side of it. Then we will talk about what a foreign direct investment is. We commonly call it as an FDI. So what an FDI means, and also what an FDI brings to a country, what benefit an FDI brings to a country. Also, how an FDI benefits a country like Sri Lanka, a developing country like Sri Lanka. So we're going to talk about that in brief. And also, mainly, our main topic for the day is why does Sri Lanka struggle to attract FDIs? I think that's the climax of our discussion, and we're going to talk about that topic in detail. Finally, what could we do as Sri Lankans together to address the issue? That's our main focus. So getting back to the Sri Lanka today, the chart that you see on the screen is a comparison between the GDP and the national debts. So the comparison is from the year 2010 to 2017. So these statistics have been taken out from the Central Bank annual report of the year 2017. Now if you look at the years 2010 and 2012, there's a significant difference where the total national debts are higher than the GDP. That's a really alarming situation, and we do understand the reason, that probably because of the ongoing war, and the war ended somewhere around in 2009, and probably that trend continued for a few years and then settled off after that. So from the year 2013 to 17, the total national debts, the volume of the national debts compared to the GDP was reduced. However, if you look at the year 2017, the composition of the national debts compared to the GDP is 89%. Now, that amount is high in any terms. Now, especially a country like Sri Lanka, a developing country like Sri Lanka, to have total debts amounting to 89% of your GDP is quite high. It's economically not sound, and it creates so many red signals to the country, which we need to focus on. Going back to going to the exchange rate scenario, we know there is a significant fluctuation in the exchange rates during the last couple of months. So this comparison of the exchange rate is from the year 2016 to 18, the last 2 years. So if you see, over the past 2 years, the currency have been depreciated by a huge rate of 16.7. Now that once again, to a developing country like Sri Lanka, is a great challenge. The exports can be affected, the imports could be affected, the whole life cycle of the country could be affected, and it's a matter of alarm. Now there is a threshold or a level where the Sri Lankan economy itself, the operation itself, is responsible for this depreciation. While we know in the last 2 months the US dollar strengthening, right? The reason for US dollar being strengthened impacted the exchange rate from all the countries. So including the countries like from countries like India, even Australia, it was affected. So we were also part of it. But however, comparing the last 2 years, it is depreciated by 16.7, which is a great concern. Now let's get into the main topic. So Shanaga, it's over to you. We are going to talk about FDI. So over to you, Shanaga.
Yes, now let's look at what FDI is. A foreign direct investment is a firm investing in a product or a service in a foreign country, and that makes that firm a multinational company. So that makes that a foreign direct investment. So this company goes and invests in another country, a foreign country, and that is a foreign direct investment. So from a firm's point of view, it makes the firm a multinational organization, and from that country's point of view, there will be some investment coming into the country. So that is a foreign direct investment. And there are different types of foreign direct investments. There are market-seeking foreign direct investments as well as efficiency-seeking foreign direct investments. Now, if you take the Sri Lankan context, if you look at a company like Coca-Cola coming and investing in Sri Lanka, and they manufacture Coca-Cola in Sri Lanka, and then they distribute Coca-Cola in Sri Lanka. So that is a market-seeking foreign direct investment, where they are catering to the local market. They manufacture locally and cater to the local market. So that is a market-seeking FDI. Then there's the other type, which is the efficiency-seeking FDIs. So in that case, the company invests in the country, in the foreign country, and then they try to export things out of that country. So that is a efficiency seeking. So they either add value, it could be a value addition to a product, or it could be a service that they provide, and then that is exported to another country. So that is a efficiency seeking FDI. Now in the current context, the market seeking FDIs have come to a quite saturation. So I think the trend is now to seek more of efficiency seeking FDIs, where you get investments into the country, you do some value addition, and then you export back the product or the service. So that benefits in two ways. One is that you get the foreign direct investment into the country, where you get all the benefits of the FDI, plus when you export, you get foreign earnings to the country back again. So that way, I think that is the focus in the new context, and most of the countries like Vietnam, they are now focusing on mostly on efficiency seeking FDIs. So those are the two main types of FDIs. And then let's also look at what benefits a FDI brings into a country. So obviously we talk about FDIs, it's a big buzzword, and obviously there's a lot of benefits of a foreign direct investment from a company's point of view as well as from a country's point of view. So there are direct and indirect benefits as well. So if you look at the direct benefits, now this brings investment into the country. So that is a good thing to an economy, where you get a big investment into the country, and then that boosts the country's economy. So that also, when there's investment coming in, you get a lot of technology transfer. So you get new technology coming into the country, and then there will be training of the people of that technology. So that technology transfer happens. So that is a big benefit that the foreign direct investment brings in. So for Sri Lanka, we don't have some of the latest technology. So if we have a foreign direct investment, for instance, if it is a chip manufacturing company, so that comes into Sri Lanka, so that technology also comes with the investment. So that is one of the main benefits. Then when you have these big investments in a country, that creates a manufacturing sector, and that needs people to get those things done. So that creates job opportunities in the country. So this will solve the job problem, as well as it will get most of the people involved in some activity which will boost the country's economy. So getting people involved in the country's economy in this way is a support that is given by a FDI. So those are like some of the benefits that FDIs brings. And one more thing that this brings is, when you have FDI, as I said earlier, if the FDI is a FDI which is a efficiency seeking FDI where you export as well, that will strengthen your balance of payments as well, because you do a lot of exports now. You bring in things, you add value, you export it back, and that will strengthen your balance of payments. Then there are many other indirect things as well. Now, for instance, if there's a factory setup, there are so many other indirect jobs, suppliers, yes, accommodation providers, who needs to support transporters, who needs to support this industry. So that way there are direct job creation, as well as there's a huge indirect creation of jobs and other activities which will stimulate the economy and boost the economy. So there are many benefits, as we saw, that a foreign direct investment will bring into a country.
Thanks, Shanak. I think that was really insightful. It's a good start for our discussion here. So, Chaturvat, can you just take us through the current state of FDIs in Sri Lanka?
In Sri Lankan scenario now, Sri Lanka being open to the economy, when we see from after the independence, Sri Lanka was going towards the national economy. They want to grow and eat inside the country. That type of economy they have been seeking, like in national economy. But in 1977, we have opened our doors. That we open door policies. We invite a lot of foreign investors to come to the Sri Lanka and invest in Sri Lanka. A lot of garment factories we opened in Sri Lanka, and there was a lot of export zones. We call free zones. Free trade zones. Mainly we know like a Katunayaka and Vietnam, but there are 15 or maybe 16 or so. There are free zones are there. So there are a lot of foreign investments came into that zone, and they are working in that zone. But the problem is, when that investment comes, we have to keep them also. There's a competition in the market. Like we are in the Asian country, there are a lot of other Asian countries now. They start seeking foreign direct investments. They are attractive than Sri Lanka. Because of that, a lot of foreign direct investment what was there in Sri Lanka, now they are going back to the other countries. Even when you see the garment industries, Sri Lankan companies, like Brandix, Mars, they are investing in Bangladesh now. Why? Because of that, Sri Lanka no more attractive for the investments. Because of that, they are
labor cost.
That's right. That now they are investing in other countries. When you see the graph, you can see clearly there are a lot of investment we got after the civil war. Like when that war ended, there are a lot of investment start coming to Sri Lanka. But unfortunately, with this political environment, in 2016 it got reduced a little bit. Then 2015, 16, 17, it's gone down to 415 million. It was around 1,635 million. It came down to 1,116, and in 2016 it went down to 415 million. It was huge drop from 1,600 drop to 400. When you see it is not good scenario, that means we have to take a lot of actions to bring that our level back to the 1,600 million level or maybe further. But now our scenario is we are far more down than what we were. Now as a country, we have to do a lot of hard work to go back to that level. When you see our corruption level, that we are as a country, we are ranked as a world 91 out of 180 countries. Like we are ranked as a 91. 91 means like a number one at New Zealand. Now we are at 91. There are a lot of other countries between that. There are all of other Asian countries also. Like being 180 in Somalia. We know Somalia, how we don't want to be a Somalia, but we have to come at least to the India and other countries level. Sri Lanka had a lot of reputation in the past, but now when you see it is 91 means it's not good sign. Because of that, lot of investors, they are fear to come to Sri Lanka. That is the situation in Sri Lanka now.
Yeah, but can you also just brief us a little bit on the export processing zones, the main zones in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, there are a lot of zones, that from Katunayaka, Biyagama, and there are a lot of zones in Avissa, even they have opened new zone in Hambantota also, like Mirichavila, Suriva, they are, focusing that port and airport. They have open zones, but there are no investments in that areas. But there are some zones, it is already there, existing from long time, but there are only few factories are functioning. That is the current situation.
This is the crust of our problem.
Yeah.
I think we'll get back to that in the next.
Absolutely. I think now we move on to Lalindra. Lalindra, can you just enlighten us on the visible benefits and with some examples on our neighboring countries compared to the FDIs?
Yeah, of course, Bandura. Like, it's important to see why Sri Lanka is struggling to attract FDIs, and it's equally important to see what our neighboring countries they are doing, how good they are doing, and what are the strategies that they are applying, and why Sri Lanka is struggling so much. It's recently it has struggled a lot, but even if you look at the history, we have been struggling throughout. So if you compare like countries like Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Cambodia, compared to those countries, Sri Lanka's labor cost is very high. So having a high labor cost, it's always difficult to attract the foreign investment. So if we are to bring the foreign investment, the foreign direct investments, we have to always focus on our labor cost, because labor cost, if you can reduce, which you can attract the foreign investment, as well as that is a good sign for manufacturing arena. So Sri Lanka has to really concern on that, and the government and the authorities should take immediate actions to bring down the labor cost. And also, if you see the Sri Lankan the trend of FDIs inflow, it's right at the bottom. So throughout, if you compare, like if you can see on the graph, from 2003 to 2012, there's not much fluctuation from the graph. You can clearly see that. But looking at the other countries, like especially the Vietnam, Singapore, and Thailand, they are doing really well, and it seems like they have a good strategy, and they are really focusing on that. Whereby Sri Lanka is really struggling, and we seem to have no strategy, no clear strategy to bring and to increase the FDI inflow.
Thank you, Lalindra. I think that was very insightful. That speaks, the graphs speaks to itself. So I think now we will move on to the climax of our discussion today, that is as to why Sri Lanka struggles to attract FDIs into the country. So there are a number of points, number of areas that we have highlighted. So let's go one by one. Shanaka, over to you to take us to the first few.
Yes, Bandula. So it's, as we discussed, it's very important to see why we are struggling, and that will enable us to give a solution to the problem that we have at hand now. So if you see foreign direct investment, a multinational's goal is to maximize their profit. So they want to maximize their profits. So foreign direct investment comes into a country because they want to maximize their profit and get some benefit out of it. So when the costs are high, as Narendra clearly showed, when the costs are high in a country, it could be the labor costs, it could be other costs like the infrastructure or electricity or whatever. So when the costs are high, people are reluctant to invest because that will reduce their margins. So we need to make sure that always the country is competitive with the region, and we have the best of facilities and best of services at a very reasonable rate. So that will enable to attract foreign. So Sri Lanka's problem is being high in cost, so that distracts foreign direct investment. So that is one of the problems that we are having. Then the other major problem that we have is the political instability in the country. Now you have seen many governments change, people topple governments, people cross over and then topple governments, and with these government changes, the political environment change, and then the policies change. So that creates vulnerability for a business, because business needs to be stable. A business needs to know, okay, this is what are my tax policies, these are my labor policies, these are all the policies. So then they can plan for their future and plan for their profits. But if this change, then it becomes a problem for those companies. So that will distract foreign direct investment. Then again, the incentives. We have to incentivize these people to come into the country. So especially if your costs are high, okay, say your labor is at a higher skill level and your costs are high, then you have to incentivize these people with another way, like maybe giving a tax holiday or maybe giving concessions. So that is lacking, a proper plan for incentivizing these foreign direct investments. So that is lacking in the country. So that again distracts foreign direct investments. So these are some of the things. I think someone can take over.
One of the other point is removal of red tape. Like you have a lot of authorities to conduct when you're trying to conduct a business in Sri Lanka. The other one is strong policy framework is not there to attract right type of FDIs. So that policy framework is kind of a not stable. During each regime it gets changed. We don't have a proper policy framework. And then the good foreign investment policy. The foreign policy that is inducive for FDIs coming. And then I think Lalinda can elaborate some of the other points.
Of course, I mean, Sri Lanka need to update their trade investment policies to suit their current trends. And also, like, stable labor policy is required, and a firm labor law is very much required to attract the inflows of FDI. Corruption, as Chatura explained and discussed, we are way below. I mean, the rank in 91 out of 180 countries is not an attractive place to be in. So that's with the government and the authorities has to do a lot of work to come to a good level.
So these all create challenges to Sri Lanka FDIs. So Chatura, over to you to take us through the next.
Given that, like Narendra said, that how corrupt a country is from the incident, there was one Sri Lankan came with a good recycling solution, but he went back because of that. He don't want to give any commission to anybody. Because of that, there are a lot of problems are there that we have to identify that problems and remove that barriers for investors to come there. Even we have one highway from Colombo to Madara, but we need lot of infrastructures. That whenever that free trade zones are there, when they manufacture the product, they have to come to the port or the airport to export them. We need very good infrastructure. Because of that, also we are lacking behind. When you see Oman and all, we have very good road network and all, but in Sri Lanka we don't have that. It is the one minus point in Sri Lanka. And also we don't have any free trade agreements within the region. When we have free trade agreements within the region, there are a lot of rich people in India, they can come and invest in Sri Lanka. There are other countries, they can come and invest in Sri Lanka. If we have free trade agreement, they can come and do the business without tax. The tax-free benefit, they can get it. If we have very strong FTAs among the countries, maybe with some rich countries like UK or US and European countries, we can get more foreign investment if we have a good FTAs with them. And also that we have, as a country, we are not marketing us properly in the world. We are telling that we have very good electricity rate and we have very good smile, we are very friendly people, but we have not marketed that in the market to attract foreign investors. That is a very big challenge for us to get that market back.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chandra. Very, very insightful. So, a few more points on the struggle that Sri Lanka faces today to attract FDIs. So, we spoke about the relatively high human cost, the labor cost. We spoke about it as a factor that we need to focus on. The other important thing is the absence of a national policy for trade and export. Now, we all know that the national export policy was established in the year 2018, a few months back, and was rolled out. It was approved by the parliament and was rolled out. That's a good thing to have. Now, I read through that document. It is a very comprehensive, a 5-year plan how Sri Lankan exports should be taken forward for the other countries and how we could attract foreign exchange. So similarly, I think all other areas should also have a national policy, not to be changed from government to government.
Yeah, that's why
there should be one
5
policy.
years policy that it should be like maybe for 20 years it should flow.
Absolutely. So we have examples from other countries. So we have one national policy and we follow through until we achieve those targets.
And our import-export regime is it's bit complex and very protective in the world.
Yeah.
That's what as per the World Bank say.
So the last point for me is once again the devaluation of rupee. We spoke about it. It has devalued by about 16.7% over the past 2 years. There are certain things that the country government could do to reduce this impact, but certain things are beyond control. But then that's something that we need to live with and work out alternative measures to address that issue. Saman, over to you to take us through.
Yeah, as you mentioned that imports, export, the concerns that we have there, and then the high transaction cost caused by these unpredictable economic policies. This is increasing the cost. That is one of the reasons. Then these practices, the government procurement practices that they carry out are not transparent. So that is one of the reason that FDI is not coming in. Then whenever there is a contract coming in and then repudiation or cronyism, that where the political authority they appoint their relatives and friends into the places. So due to these facts, the FDIs are reluctant to come in, and decision-making authorities are highly fragmented. As I mentioned earlier, like a lot of the government, Pradeshia Sabha, provincial council, all these things are highly fragmented. So if you want to go to carry a business, so you have to go to many places to get things done. Then other thing is trade unions. The trade unions are very powerful in Sri Lanka, so that also make FDI to think twice to come in. and lack of skilled labor and limited talent pools can hinder this scalability if FDI comes in. And then we have a lot of holidays in Sri Lanka, public holidays. So people,
we all enjoy that.
the people reluctant to work at night. The lack of labor mobility can reduce efficiency and startup time for FDI when they come in. And then limits on foreign control and right to private ownership and establishment. That's one of the reasons. Land ownership for law prohibits foreigners to acquire or owning lands. And then foreign investments are restricted to 40% in some business areas like import-export, fishery, not fisheries, tea, rubber, coconut, that is where our main incomes. They are only 40% they can invest if they have or if they want to. And then the foreigners are prohibited from purchasing land and real estate, but they can get rented apartments, but that's also above the third floor. So that kind of the restriction they have it's actually not favorable to this thing. And then another point is 25% one-time payment from a profit which is incurring more than 2 billion rupees if FDI. So this kind of rules and regulation actually give
I think the problem is that these things are not properly in a policy, and then they are not transparent, and then they are not
and they are scattered
and stable.
So information scattered.
This is not in one place so that people can immediately.
Absolutely. So thank you guys. I think we discussed a lot of areas, a lot of factors that is hindering Sri Lanka or to reason out why Sri Lanka is struggling to attract FDIs into the country. So overall, just to sum up on what we have discussed today, we spoke about Sri Lanka today, the economic factors of Sri Lanka. Then we spoke about what foreign direct investment is. Then we spoke about the benefits FDIs bring to a country. Then we spoke about how important FDI is for a country like Sri Lanka. And then we also spoke our main topic, why does Sri Lanka struggle to attract FDIs? There were a number of points that all of us put forward for discussion. And then finally, while presenting the issues or challenges, we also came up with what matters that we can put forward or propose for the government to address these challenges.
Remedial action.
Absolutely. So this is, I think, was very insightful, and I hope there was some benefit that you could get out of our discussion. What we try to convince or to explore is the possibilities of deep diving into the struggles that we have in bringing FDIs to the country, and how we could resolve this and make Sri Lanka a better place tomorrow. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time, and let's meet again in another episode.